While Hayden Ryle's wedding day was already going to be one of the most important moments of her life, a little girl made the occasion even more special. And while the bride had only just met the 3-year-old, the bond between the pair was already clear to see. Then what happened next brought many people to tears.
If you like our content and want to see more, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell to receive the latest videos. Now, enjoy the story.
Hayden, who was born Hayden Hatfield, had grown up in Hartford, Alabama. In 2017, she also graduated from Auburn University after studying psychology and business, and Hayden became a married woman not long after leaving school, tying the knot with Air Force member Adrian Riles on June 9, 2018. However, when Hayden and Adrian married at Hartford's Shiloh Baptist Church, there was a very important guest present, Sky Savern McCormick. And while Sky and Hayden had only met the previous day, they were already linked forever. I walked right up to Sky and Sky was walking towards me. She knew who I was, the newlywed later told Humankind. I dropped down to my knees and she hugged me. Sky was aware that the bride standing before her was Hayden, or as she called her, Hey Hey. And Sky and her parents, Todd and Talia Savern McCormick, had traveled to the wedding all the way from Ventura, California. Talia works as a teacher for the Ventura Unified School District, and Todd is a carpenter. The couple had married on July 15, 2012, and welcomed their daughter in March 2015. But the Savern McCormick's little girl is not like many children. You see, the toddler began suffering from medical problems early on in her life. Her parents noticed that she would often fall ill, and she had also required pedicay, tiny spots produced by broken blood capillaries. Sky then began having tests to determine what was wrong with her, and unfortunately, 4 days before she turned 1, the baby was given the diagnosis of juvenile myelomonocytic leukemia, an uncommon form of blood cancer where white blood cells are not being properly produced within the bone marrow. As a result of the leukemia then, Sky required transplanted bone marrow. So her parents turned to the Be the Match program in the hope of finding someone with a correct tissue type who would offer to make the life-saving donation. And sure enough, Todd and Talia were eventually told that Sky had a match. Meanwhile, Hayden had been at college and was having a hard time figuring out where she wanted her life to take her. In particular, the young woman had been considering switching majors. I was at a super low. I was feeling like my life didn't have any meaning or purpose, she said to Humankind. Hayden added, I didn't know what I wanted to do as far as a career, and at that point in time, I thought that defined me. Then one day in 2016, she was walking through the campus when she saw a notice urging students and faculty to sign up to the Be the Match registry. Ultimately, Hayden put her name down. Then, around a year after joining the Be the Match list, Hayden received a call letting her know that she had matched with a 1-year-old child who needed a bone marrow transplant to survive. That little girl was Sky, and Hayden didn't hesitate before agreeing to help. I never once thought about what I'd have to undergo. Any of the procedures, no fear, nothing, the college graduate would go on to tell Humankind. I was just like, yes. However, privacy rules dictate that the parties involved in such a procedure cannot contact each other for 1 year. Hayden knew little more than Sky's age then when she became her bone marrow donor. Even so, the young woman sent a piece of jewelry and a note to the Savern McCormicks through the program before the operation on July 28, 2016. Then, right after the year-long period was up, Talia got in touch with Hayden. I was ecstatic that I finally got to know Sky's name, and I got to know where the Savern McCormicks were, the donor explained. Hayden subsequently stayed in touch with the family via email and would receive updates about Sky. So when Sky's 3rd birthday rolled around, Hayden decided to send her some presents, including an Elsa doll from Frozen and a Trolls blanket. That wasn't all though. Also included in the package was a birthday card with an invitation to Hayden's wedding. Hayden acknowledged, however, that the invite was an optimistic one, given the distance between her and the family, as well as Sky's condition. I know that y'all are all the way in California, but I just want you to know that you're wanted here, Hayden said that she'd told Sky's family. You're that special to me, and I really love y'all. Yet while Sky's parents were doubtful that their daughter would attend since she was still receiving oxygen, doctors nevertheless deemed the toddler well enough to travel ahead of the big day. Then Hayden finally met Sky the day before her wedding when the little girl gave her a locket that the bride ultimately draped across her bouquet. That piece of jewelry included a photo of the toddler and the inscription, "This heart beats with yours." And Hayden told the Washington Post in July 2018, "I've never been able to describe our bond. I've never been able to explain it. That was the most perfect way I've ever heard it described." Naturally, the bride was delighted to have the 3-year-old serve as her flower girl on her wedding day. and Sky's father agreed that his family and Hayden's will always be connected too. "It's sort of like we got a new family in Alabama and it's been joyous," he said to the Washington Post. Then the story of the bond was shared online, and people were moved by Hayden's generosity and the relationship that she has formed with Sky. The bride deserves more than the usual blessings and congratulations for also sharing her very special day with another very special person, one commenter wrote in response to the Washington Post report. Another agreed, "Not a dry eye in the church and not a dry eye at my house when I read this. Bravo." Sky still has a way to go with her recovery, however, and has needed another 2 transplants so far. The second transplant was performed using the remainder of Hayden's donation after the little girl had her spleen removed. Unfortunately, though, Sky was then diagnosed with post-transplant lymphoproliferative disease, another form of cancer. This left her needing chemotherapy that negated the effects of the last transplant and required she have a third. Due to rules around donations, Sky received blood cells for the third transplant from a different donor. Despite the setbacks to Sky's recovery, however, Todd remains thankful that Hayden stepped in the first place. He told the Washington Post, "If Hayden hadn't donated her bone marrow, our daughter would not have made it to her other donation. She got us to a place where we could survive this. But Hayden apparently feels differently. It has always been the other way around. Sky helped me. She saved me," she said. "She's the real hero." If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone who may find it interesting. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.